we're going to discuss Billy's fourth dream, where he has a horseless carriage, he has his son-in-laws, and Dr. Barbara's going to explain what does it mean to have a horseless carriage when you just had dreams about horses. Stay tuned.
Your next dream, what's it?
Yeah, so the next dream, the scene starts with me sitting in my driveway at a work desk. And I put in my earbuds to have a phone call with the doctor. Okay. The doctor, which again, we have, there's doctors in the dream earlier in the week and a doctor in this one.
Which means a healing's going on. So that's a theme.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And so the doctor patched me into another call that he was on with another patient, which was an unknown female. I didn't know who she was. And she was describing her condition to the doctor. And as I listened, I thought it was a bit odd that he had patched me into another conversation that he was having with another patient. And no one acknowledged me being there. He just patched me in. I was listening to their conversation. I wish I could remember the details. I guess it doesn't matter. But I, as I thought that it was kind of odd, I said, well, the doc had to make a conscious decision to patch me in. So he must have wanted me there. So I just waited. Then as I'm sitting there waiting to be included or asked a question or whatever, to have some acknowledgement that I'm there on the phone, my son-in-law, Stephen, so I have two son-in-laws, they both show up here in this next paragraph, which is the end of the dream. My son-in-law, Stephen, showed up and he was all dressed up in a tuxedo, like he was getting married. Okay. There was something in our front yard that he had brought with him that had to do with the wedding. It was a small horse-drawn carriage without a horse. So this carriage was like Cinderella's princess carriage, and it was a prop for the wedding, but there was no horse. And immediately my mind, as I'm typing this up next morning, goes into the previous dream I had where all the horses were gone. Then Stephen's older brother, John, showed up. Stephen took him around our home, mine and Paula's home, showing him the improvements that we had recently done to our home, which in waking life we have. Mm-hmm. As they walked around, John was talking so loud, which he is a loud talker. Okay. As they walked around, John was talking so loud that I decided to get off the call so the other parties were not disturbed in the dream.
Nice. So you've got two different movements in it, which is what you call paragraphs. And that's, that's a side note for new people that haven't figured this out yet or just new to dream interpretation. When you write down your dream, then if you're going to study it, then what I often do is put it into a computer. And then as I do break it into paragraphs. The paragraphs are often determined by a shift in the energy, which means a shift in place or in people, action, similar to what a television show would be.
Right.
What a series would be on movies or TV, where there's changes in the scenery. That's exactly how your dreams work. And it shows the flow of your thinking. So the first part is talking about you being on the phone. So the phone is about communication. It's about internal communication, how you communicate. And, I see that really important because the Om is all about communication. In essence, the journey of Omkara is all about, it's a journey of communication that includes listening. It includes silence. It includes speaking. It includes all creation. So you're in your driveway in your car.
Sitting at a desk.
Oh, you're
A
sitting at a
desk.
desk.
Yeah, a desk as I
Okay.
know normally is in an office, which would denote in a dream learning and growth. All right. Now, what relation is it to being in a driveway? Now, I haven't made that connection yet.
I think, from how your dreams have run here and what we've covered with the horses in the dreams previously, the first week, the very beginning, and also with the bicycle, and now the bike dream before this one, you're looking at the ways that you're going to express yourself and the way that you're going to move from one place to another, because that's what vehicles are about. Vehicles can be cars and trucks and planes and buses. They can also be, in our daily life, our work. They can be, they can even be a marriage. A marriage is a vehicle. Children are a vehicle. It's a way to express, because you get to express an archetype. You get to be a boss, an employee, a father, a husband, whatever. So those are vehicles in our everyday life. So that's when the synthesis starts to happen in the minds coming together and working as a whole, which is what dream interpretation is meant to do. It's meant to encourage and move us down the road of being able to have that. So that as things are happening, and this is where you're headed, as things are actually happening, you realize that this is a dream. Your waking life is a dream, and you begin to interpret it in the language of mind. We're starting to do that a little bit now, but we're so clumsy with it. We just don't know what we're doing. And so everything absolutely looks like chaos and craziness with all the different things that are happening when we're awake. And it's all in front of us. There's war in Ukraine, and then there's people on the beach having fun over here. And then there's, a mother having a baby, and there's somebody else that's dying of COVID or cancer or something. I mean, all these things, yes, are always happening. Always. They always have been, depending on what people were doing on the planet. The difference is we know about them. We consciously have them in our face, and everybody's in a sense of shock and fear. And so what your dreams are doing is it's all about healing. You had doctors in the first dream. You have the doctor doesn't show up, but the doctor's talking. The patient now is subconscious. It's a woman that gets involved in the communication. So what you've said earlier is illustrated in the dream. You're realizing how you want to improve working with your dreams. You have very concrete ideas of that now that a week ago you didn't have. The awareness wasn't there. It wasn't time. It wasn't place. In other words, your depth of realizing the benefits probably of being able to interpret your dreams by creating what we call the dream consciousness circuit, which is realizing how it pertains to what was going on yesterday. So today is going to be much better. That's the real purpose for dreams. So your realization that you want to become keener at making those connections, which is the wheels that still are on the bike. Nobody stole the wheels. So the wheels are left. So that's what gets your attention. So that conversion kind of energy between the night and the day and the night is what you're really going into in your practices with what you're doing in your daily life, which in part is the Om. Part of it's probably what you're thinking about with working. Part of it's probably what you're thinking about. You're working in retirement. You don't have to work, but you want to. So, it's like, what do you really want to do in these next 10 years? That kind of thing. So some of those thoughts that are going on in the day are getting connected through your dreams at night. Your dreams are saying, this is what I think about what you're thinking in the daytime. And it comes through in your two son-in-laws being in the dream. Because your son-in-laws are there because of marriage. That's how your relationship with them developed.
Right. And even though there's not a wedding happening in a dream, the wedding is planned at some point because there's props. There's one of my son-in-laws in a tuxedo, and wedding is a commitment.
Right. And the commitments to yourself. So, to the degree that you do practice and you're genuine and authentic in your desire to understand consciousness and to understand mind and to go deeper and not to be a shallow person, that kind of thing, but to really, have substance to yourself and to honor that in other people. And that's how I know you. So that comes through in what's going on here, that now that you've started the Om in earnest and you have that stretch of 108 days, that's a commitment. We talked about that a minute ago. So the commitment's coming up here. And so that. So you're just reorganizing everything. It's that expectancy that I talked about a minute ago. You're pregnant. So it's like, the expectancy period is right now where you're thinking about, okay, these are the things I'm not going to be doing anymore. These are the things that I'm going to be doing, which is what a woman does. And more males also join in that, of realizing that certain parts of the old life are not going to be pertinent anymore. You're not even going to have time for them. And then certain ways that open time then is going to get filled are coming into your life. So there's there's a heavy, not heavy, it's not heavy. There's a real, it's palpable, and I can feel it very, in a very visceral way, that your dreams are leading you in that direction. They're walking side by side with you. Do you have that feeling too?
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see a lot of it in my daytime waking life too, especially when I'm around so many hundreds of other people while I'm at work versus being at home. Um, just a small example, and some people may call this serendipity, or whatever, but I'm stocking a shelf or a small part of a shelf that to have it fully stocked, I need 12 cans of something else that is a few aisles away. And as I'm leaving with my basket to go get them, because I can't carry them all by myself, I think, what if somebody was to come up and purchase one of those cans while I'm gone? Should I get a 13th? And this round trip is only going to take like 3 minutes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I come back, there's two gentlemen standing there right next to the product, and they've got one of them in their hands. And they talk a minute, they look at the can, they shake the head, and they walk off, and they walk past me with the can. Well, standing behind them is a smaller gentleman that works there, an older gentleman. He's probably 10 years older than I am. He's just staring at me. And we have not spoken that much. He's a very quiet person. I say hello to him quite a bit, and he never says anything back. And he's just staring at me. And I just cracked up laughing, and he started smiling. He said, "What's up?" And I said, "I just got these 12 cans. Now I got to go back and get another one." And I was thinking about, and so we had a moment. He started laughing. He said, "Go get your can. I'll put these on the shelf for you." And, so it's things like that, that happen throughout my day that I know I've created by my thoughts too.
Absolutely. For years, I've called that intuitive happenings that we have during the day. It's a great example of that. And one of the things by far that I see happen with people like you who are really invested in understanding the self through dream work is you become keenly open and aware of those things that most people just discount. And serendipity, that's one way to put it, but I see it as synchronization of the inner and outer self, and the reasoning mind and the intuitive mind coming together, which I call entrainment. And so that's the normal way of being. That's the natural way of being. That's the healthy way of being. It's the way that I believe and know, actually, that everyone functions, because everybody has the same kind of mind and the same kind of body. So to note those things, that's part of your notations during the day too,
Right.
is those, because then your subconscious mind will then feed it back. And that's the doorway, Billy, into really exceptional human function. That's what they call it in China. And they study it in China. They study the quote unquote psychic abilities because they recognize and honor that they are superhuman, but they are natural in their realm of where they work, where they operate. So we can call certain people intuitive and say, well, I'm not. But that's just a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
So dreaming enables us to change the self-fulfilling prophecy. And I think that probably is the answer to your horseless carriage, which we had talked about at the onset, is you don't have your horses lined up yet because it's not really time. You're expecting. And once you deliver the baby, you'll probably have horses in your dream. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait until we get there.
Right. Yeah.
I really appreciate you. I really appreciate this time with you. And I appreciate your generosity, your generous spirit, and the fact that you want to use your life and experience and understanding to aid other people. Because I know from my own work and from working with people like that all my life, that is the way that we all move forward. That's the way that it all gets better. That's how we all learn to think different thoughts and improve, walk into the life that all of us kind of secretly hope and dream is real. Well, instead of hoping and dreaming, we actually bring it out and live it.
Right.
So thank you.
Well, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for the kind words. And it is something that I haven't done many things or anything in my life that some people might think are great achievements, or that mankind would remember for millennia, or anything. But something like this, it finally brings meaning and value to all the different experiences I've had in my life. And like you said earlier, even though we've only known each other for a few years, I have been curious throughout my whole life, even going back to childhood, and things that I would look up at the elementary school library. I can remember, being very curious about a lot of things. And my life has changed so many times. It feels like I've lived several lifetimes in this one already. And it's because I have evolved and I've made an effort to do that. And I would still like to continue that effort. So thank you for giving me a way to do that.
You are very welcome. And hopefully we'll touch a lot of lives for the
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Wow, that was a fascinating journey into Billy's dream. We learned the meaning of several dream symbols like doctors, phones, carriages. We learned how to record our own dreams. We learned what intuitive happenings are. Dream interpretation encourages the mind to work as a whole. So stay tuned for Dream 5 coming soon.